Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to decode the notoriously complex Canada Pension Plan calculation and uncover exactly how you can optimize your future payouts. Look, if you've ever stared at your pay stub, seen those CPP deductions, and wondered what you're actually going to get out of it at the end of the line, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's cut right to the chase and ask a pretty crucial question about your retirement strategy. Are you unknowingly leaving your own hard-earned cash on the table? A lot of us just assume the government's going to hand over a standard check when we retire. But the truth? Your final payout is highly dependent on the strategic moves you're making right now. And the reality of not making those moves is honestly pretty shocking. Get this, the average Canadian receives a massive 40% less than the maximum CPP payout available to them. That is a huge chunk of your potential retirement income that's just evaporating. Let's put some real dollars to this. Take an average earner tapping into their pension right now at age 65. They're pulling in about $816 a month. But a fully maximized earner, they are collecting over $1,364 every single month. Over a 20-year retirement, we are talking about a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same exact pension program, but vastly different results. So here's our roadmap for this explainer to help bridge that gap. We'll quickly run through the CPP payout gap, why benefit amounts differ so wildly, specific strategies to maximize your CPP, how to estimate your future benefit, and finally, the real truth about delaying your pension.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the CPP payout gap. This really is a tale of two retirees.
Meet David and Sarah. They're both 65 years old. David had some gaps in his employment and started contributing to the system a bit later in life, which landed him right at that average payout of $816 a month. Sarah, on the other hand, had a long, consistent, high-earning career without those gaps. Because she maximized her benefits, she gets that top-tier $1,364 per month. They are the exact same age, pulling from the exact same system, but Sarah has a vastly more comfortable retirement just based on her career earnings profile. So, Section 2. Why did these benefit amounts differ so much? Let's break down the rules of the game. If you want that maximum CPP payout, there's one magic acronym you absolutely need to know, the YMPE, or Yearly Maximum Pensionable Earnings. For 2024, this number is $68,500. This is basically the ultimate hurdle you have to clear annually. The government checks to see if your earnings for the year met or exceeded this specific threshold to decide if you maxed out your contribution for that year. But here's the kicker. To get a top-tier payout like Sarah's, you can't just hit the YMPE once or twice. You have to hit it consistently, like really consistently. You need maximum contributions for at least 39 years. And to figure out your payout, the CPP formula specifically zeroes in on your best 40 years of earnings. If you've got years in there with low or zero earnings, they are going to seriously drag down your overall average. Which brings us perfectly into Section 3. Strategies to maximize your CPP. How do we actually take action and fix a lower average? Strategy number 1 is incredibly powerful. You can actually keep working part-time while receiving your CPP. If you're between 60 and 70, collecting your pension but still earning employment income, you can continue to contribute. And those aren't just wasted taxes. They earn you a post-retirement benefit, which permanently bumps up your monthly payout for the rest of your life. Another fantastic feature is the general dropout provision. The system actually knows that nobody's career is perfect, so they let you slice off up to 17% of your lowest income years from the calculation. Out of a standard 47-year career, that's roughly 8 years of low or zero earnings that just vanish from the math. It means those early years working minimum wage right out of school don't have to ruin your lifetime average. And it gets even better. On top of that 17%, you can exclude specific low-earning years if you took time off or took a pay cut to raise children under the age of 7. There are also specific provisions for periods of disability. Leveraging these targeted dropouts can artificially inflate your career average simply by deleting the bad years. But what if your current day's salary just isn't hitting that $68,500 YMPE threshold? Well, you've got to bump up that income. Take a worker named Alex, for example. Alex had a full-time job but wasn't quite clearing the hurdle. By starting a successful online side business, Alex pushed his total taxable income over the threshold and maximized his CPP for the year. Whether it's a side hustle or aggressively chasing promotions, increasing your top-line revenue right now directly translates to a larger guaranteed pension later. All right, Section 4, estimating your future benefit.
With those strategies in your back pocket, where do you stand right now?
You basically have 3 ways to figure this out, ranging from quick mental math to pulling your official government file. For the mental math, let's use the rule of thumb. You should know the CPP was recently enhanced. It used to be designed to replace roughly 25% of your average earnings up to the YMPE. Now, it's aiming to replace up to a third, or 33%. To put that into perspective, if your average annual earnings were $40,000, the old system would give you about $10,000 annually. Under the new enhancement, that same $40,000 average will eventually kick out over $13,000 annually. It's a rough ballpark, but it definitely helps set a target. If you want something more tailored, there are online calculators. The official Government of Canada one is incredibly thorough, but fair warning, it's not super user-friendly and takes about 30 minutes to fill out. If you just want a quick and easy estimate, third-party tools like the Ativa calculator are great, though keep in mind they're a bit less accurate the further away you are from retirement. But honestly, the absolute best, most accurate method is going straight to the source. Get your official statement of contributions. This document literally spells out exactly what you're expected to receive at 60, 65, and 70, based on your real-life history. Just log into your My Service Canada account online, or go old school and literally call the CPP to have them mail it to you. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the truth about delaying. This is all about timing versus maximizing. We really need to clear up a massive misconception here. Yes, delaying your pension to age 70 absolutely increases your monthly check because you get a higher age multiplier. But, and this is critical, delaying does not magically fix a poor earnings history. It doesn't bump you from an average earner base to a maximum earner base. If you have decades of low earnings, delaying to 70 just gives you a slightly bigger slice of a very small pie. The dropouts and YMPE strategies we talked about earlier are what actually grow the pie itself. Also, let's say you plan to retire early at 60. A lot of people panic and think, I better start my CPP right now so I don't have zero income years dragging down my average. That is almost always a huge mathematical mistake. Taking your CPP early triggers a severe penalty that permanently reduces your payout. And that early age penalty hurts your final monthly amount far, far more than a few zero income gap years ever could. Which brings us to the end of our deep dive. As you review your own financial plans and pull up your contribution statement, I want to leave you with this one thought to ponder. Are you actively tracking your best 40 years right now, or are you just crossing your fingers and letting your future money slip away? Take control of your numbers today.